We all love having those big, beautiful trees on our property. They make a place feel like home, right? But what if some of those trees are hiding a secret? In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden dangers that might literally be growing in your own backyard.
It really comes down to this one question. Is that tree an asset, or is it actually a threat? It's something most of us don't even think to ask, well, until it's way too late. So let's dig in and figure out how you can tell the difference. All right, first up, we have to talk about what's really at stake here. Because ignoring a problem with a tree isn't just about having a yard that looks a little messy. No, it can lead to some seriously scary consequences.
Okay, let's get right to the big one, the number one risk: damage to your home, to your property. An unmaintained tree can honestly be like a ticking time bomb right next to your biggest investment.
And this isn't just some vague threat. Picture this. You've got branches constantly scraping against your roof, slowly wearing it down, causing those little leaks you don't find for months. Or how about a big limb getting tangled up in the power lines during a storm? Suddenly, you've knocked out power for the whole block. The key thing to realize here is that this stuff isn't just a random accident. It's a direct result of that unchecked growth.
But the danger isn't just about falling branches. Nope. A neglected tree can basically become a biological hotspot, creating a problem that can spread way, way beyond just that one tree.
You know, a sick tree doesn't just keep its problems to itself. Those dead branches, they become the perfect breeding ground for all sorts of fungus and bacteria. Then the pests move in, and before you know it, they're spreading to all your other plants and maybe even to your neighbor's yard. What started as one little problem has now exploded into a full-blown infestation that can wreck an entire landscape.
And finally, there's this kind of silent decay. It's a slow burn that affects not only the tree itself, but the value and, the whole vibe of your property.
And trust me, this is about so much more than just looks. Yeah, a sick, overgrown tree tanks your home's curb appeal for sure, but it also means the tree is growing all wrong, stunted, unbalanced, and here's the kicker. It creates a massive liability. Imagine if a dead limb falls and hurts someone. That is a homeowner's absolute nightmare.
Okay, so that was a lot of bad news. I get it. But the good news? All of this is preventative. So let's flip the script and talk about the solution: the power of professional care.
Now, before we go any further, you have to know this term, certified arborist. This isn't just some guy with a pickup truck and a chainsaw. These are trained experts. Think of them like tree doctors. They have the knowledge to properly diagnose what's wrong and figure out the best way to fix it. This slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a pretty stark choice when you see it side by side. On one side, you've got all the risks of doing nothing. On the other, the benefits of calling in a pro. See how property damage becomes risk mitigation? Disease turns into improved health. It's really a choice between reacting to a disaster or proactively investing in your home's safety and value.
So what does professional care actually look like in the real world? Let's break down the toolkit that an arborist uses to turn a potential disaster into a beautiful asset.
It's a really logical, step-by-step process. It all starts with proper trimming and pruning. That's what encourages healthy, safe growth. Now, if a tree is just too far gone, they do a strategic removal to protect everything around it. Then, stump grinding gets rid of that last tripping hazard. And finally, a full cleanup leaves your yard looking fantastic. It's the whole shebang, from start to finish.
This all sounds great, but you're probably wondering, how do I even know when it's time to make that call? Well, you can actually be the first line of defense just by learning how to spot the early warning signs yourself.
Okay, here's your quick field guide for spotting trouble. Dead, brittle branches with no leaves? That's the most obvious red flag. But you gotta look closer. See any big cracks in the trunk? What about signs of bugs, like little holes or chewed up leaves? And this is a big one. If you see mushrooms growing at the base of the tree, that can be a major sign of root rot hidden underground. Any one of these is your cue to call an expert, and fast.
All right, so you've spotted a problem, you know you need help. But who do you call? There are a lot of options out there, and making an informed decision is absolutely crucial to getting the job done right.
This quote from a homeowner named Stephanie just says it all. It is so tempting to just go with the cheapest option. I get it. But when it comes to tree care, a low price often means low quality, and that can mean even higher risk. She definitely learned that lesson the hard way.
So here's your checklist. First, do they actually have certified arborists on their team? Second, and this is non-negotiable, are they licensed and insured? That protects you. Third, is their pricing totally transparent, with no weird hidden fees? And finally, Do they offer a satisfaction guarantee? That tells you they're confident enough to stand behind their work.
And all this brings us to one final thought. It's so easy to look at professional tree care as just another expense. But when you really think about the potential cost of property damage, the loss in home value, not to mention the safety risks, it becomes pretty clear that proactive care isn't a cost at all. It's an investment. So you have to ask yourself, what is the health and safety of my home really worth?